All right, hey guys. Here goes my third attempt at a video. So hopefully this one works. Again, I'm just trying to go over some concepts with you about the relationship of lines and reviewing how we find slope and intercepts and graphing, um, because it is the next thing we're going to do in the review packet. And I thought that this would help, allowing the people at home a better chance to really listen into the lesson, and also gives an opportunity for anyone that wants to go back and rewatch something if they thought they may have missed something in class. So here we go. We find slope. All right. We're given 2 points here, and we know points are made up of x and y. And we find slope by taking y and subtracting the other y. So it's called the change in y. In other words, the difference in the y's over the difference in the x's. All right. And you just got to go in order here, meaning if I'm going to use this 6, and I'm going to take 6 minus 7, right? Those are both y's. Now I have to begin with this x. I can't begin with this one. I got to be consistent. So 3. Now it's minus a negative 4. And when you subtract the negative, right, the signs change. So it's going to be 3 plus 4. Our slope of whatever line this is negative 1 over 7. All right, so that's how you find slope. Change in y over the change in x. Now, for these next set of problems, I'm going to ask you to tell me the x and the y intercepts. So all you need to remember when you're finding an intercept is you plug 0 in. All right, and what do you plug it in for? Well, it depends. If I want to find the x-intercept, I'm going to plug 0 in for y. All right, so in other words, what's the value of x when y is 0? And if we just pretended pretty much that y isn't there, this equation would be 2x equals 8. And in continuing to solve for x, you would get x equals 4. If I did the same thing, but this time I plugged 0 in for x and to find y, we'd get 4y equals 8, and we would get y equals 2. So you have to do it twice. You got to plug 0 in for x and 0 in for y. Because we're asked to find intercepts, we should write our answers as points and not x equals. So therefore, 4, 0, and 0, comma 2. All right, that's my x and y intercept. So again, it's in standard form, right? It's x plus y equals. So when it's in this form, it's a little easier to do this. You can think about covering up a number. And if I covered up y, pretend that's not there, I'm going to get x to equal, right, 10 over 6. And in solving, in reducing, you would get 5/3. But again, we shouldn't write it as x equals, right? You shouldn't write it as that. You should write it as 5/3, comma 0. It should be written as a point. To find the y-intercept, I'm just going to picture like this is not there. Divide both sides by 3, and you're going to get 10/3. All right. The next concept we want to talk about is y equals mx plus b. And I think students most often think that they're most comfortable when the line is written in this form because it's easy to identify this number here, b, which is our y-intercept, and this number that's in front of x, which is labeled with an m, and m is your slope. So for number 4, it's in this form, my slope, or m, and I'm just going to write it out. I'm sloppy here, but the slope is 3. Our y-intercept is -5, but we should write it, again, as I said before, as a point, 0, comma, -5. All right, the same deal for this one. This time I'll mark slope with an m, and slope is 1/4. and B, which is our y-intercept, 0, 4. Now, we're going over this to be able to answer questions 96 to 107 in our review packet. Some of those questions ask you to graph. And again, it's easiest for students to graph when it's in this form because we think about just starting our first point at the intercept. So in this case, in number 5, I would come up and I'd say, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'd make a point on the y-axis. That's my y-intercept. Then I would look at the slope and I'd say, all right, up 1 and over 4, and make another point. I'd try my best here to connect those dots, and I would have what should be a straight line as I graph my line. All right, down here in number 6, same thing. It's not easy to write with this mouse, as you can see by my handwriting, so I'm just going to start abbreviating a little bit, but here's my slope, -4, and the y-intercept here is -7, right? And the final thing is analyzing the relationship between lines and their slope, meaning if the slopes, like this one right here, and this one right here, are in fact opposite reciprocals, opposite meaning different signs, which they are, and they're also reciprocals of one another, those two lines are said to be perpendicular. Sorry. Here's the symbol for perpendicular lines. When slopes of two lines are the same, okay, like if we had another line here and that line also had the slope of 1 over 4, well, those two lines that have the same slope are parallel lines. And there's the symbol for parallel. Okay, so hopefully this video would help, and we will continue to do some things like this that again really help, try to help those that are at home, as well as give some of us that are in school the chance to maybe go back and watch it and maybe take some notes or try to figure out how to do a problem should we forget. So thanks, guys. Hopefully you tune into this, and thankfully it looks like it might have worked.